Hello again, this is Jesse with another Unboxing Board Games. This time we're taking a look at Rallyman. This is a game designed in France, and I first played this at Board Game Geek Convention 2010. After that I had to have a copy, and I imported it from a shop in Italy. I paid dearly on the shipping. Take a serious look at this game and maybe pick it up for yourselves, because I like it. Essentially, it's a dice game, it's a push your luck game, it's a racing game. If any of those descriptions appeal to you, if you like those kind of games, take a look at this one. It's rally racing, so you're not racing on a closed circuit, and you're not racing directly against your competitors. You're racing against the clock. So consequently, it's a game for 1 to 4 players. It's ages 9 and up and plays in about an hour. Got an instruction manual and 4 of these tracks. They're double-sided. One's got like snow and the other side is green. Got different terrain off the sides of the road. There's areas where there's sheer cliffs and some that are just grassy areas. There's forested areas and town. And what that really means is when you crash, there's going to be a different level of damage to your car when you go off the road. Hopefully you don't do that too much, though. So as you're racing along the circuit, you're going to have 3 specials, and a individual special could be made up of whatever length of track you want to combine. And you can line these boards up to where your track can cross more than one board. I mean, you could have a really long one that crosses all 4 boards if you wanted to, but just for example, there's these time clock cards that represent like your racing time on, say, a stopwatch, and a separate stack of cards for like a shortcut, tire damage. At the bottom of each of these cards is a time, like on a digital clock, and if you end your turn in that gear, this is first gear, you're going to add 50 seconds to your race time. And second gear, 40 seconds, third gear, 30 seconds, and so on, up to your 5th gear. So obviously if you end your turn in a faster gear, then that simulates your car is going faster and you're eating up less time on the clock. Just as an example, take a look at Zone V, and we're going to be going from, let's say, V6 all the way up to V9. There's a set of dice here that matches these gear cards. Each one of these die represents a gear, and then you've got 2 other acceleration die. Now you'll notice that this is not a roll and move game. As you roll a die, you're rolling that to see if your car starts to lose control, symbolized by one of these caution symbols. Now, depending on what kind of tires you're using and what the track conditions are, if you've got normal tires and the weather is sunny, it's a green portion of the track, then you can roll your dice up until you get 3 of these caution symbols, and then you would go out of control at that point. You can also, by crashing, you might incur damage to your car, which would limit your ability to use certain gears or acceleration die. You can change your tires, so you can have snow tires that would enable you to go up to 3 caution symbols on the snowy areas of the track. But going back to normal tires, we're just going to use that for our example. Get 3 caution symbols would cause us to go out of control off the track of this sunny area. But if we were to drive our circuit onto an area that's got wintry road conditions, then we'd only be allowed to have 2 of those caution symbols before we got out of control. When we go out of control, there's a diagram here in the corner of the map that shows you what happens. Like if I were to spin out on the grass, I'd be okay. If I spun out on, I guess this is like mud or dirt, I'd be okay. But if I spun out into the trees, I'd lose a gear, and I'd basically lose the ability to use my top gear. Likewise, if I ran off the road into somebody's house or one of these buildings out here, I'd lose 2 gears, so that would be really bad for my car as well as anybody's house or building that was. When I lose those gears, then this is like my stats card that I was showing you earlier. They're these little rubbery plastic markers that I would place over those gears to signify how many usable gears I have left. They essentially get blacked out. So to show you the cars that you're going to be racing, they're these little tiny pre-painted plastic rally cars. There's a start and finish card. I'm supposed to cut this out and place it on the track, but I didn't really want to cut up my card, so I just remember where I start my track and finish. That's just me. I like to keep my stuff neat. So I start off of the track here right before the beginning space. Oop. And I have to start in first gear. Now I can roll 1 die at a time. If I roll that die, I get to move that space. Doesn't matter what shows up on this die. If I roll the 1 die for first gear, I move that 1 space. Now the thing that we're watching out for is caution symbols. I can see that there's a turn coming up. I'd like to be in 3rd gear to make the inside of the turn. If I come around the outside of the turn here, I've got to be in a maximum of 4th gear. If I go above that, I'm going to go off the side. The other thing to notice is that there is a shortcut here, so we'll get into that. I can't get into 4th gear, so it's really not going to be a problem as I get through here. There's no real point for me to go around the outside of the turn. That's one method, would be to roll one die at a time and work my way up in gears. The advantage of that is if I roll a caution symbol on my first die and I roll a caution symbol on my second die, then I can make a decision that, hey, do I want to push my luck and roll another die for 3rd gear, or do I want to just stop there and take a time card for that 2nd gear? Or the other method would be to roll multiple die all at once. I mean, I could even add these white acceleration die, which don't cause me to go up in gear, but they do allow me to move additional spaces. Let's start out rolling. I don't know. Let's roll 1st through 4th gear plus a couple of acceleration die to get us up through here through this curve. Now just doing this for demonstration purposes, so I didn't really think that out, so I hope everything goes well for me and my car. Alright, the advantage to rolling all of these die is that if I do this successfully, I'm going to get these tokens that represent a second off of my time. I can also use these, turn them in later in order to cover up. If I were to roll one of these caution symbols, I can cover that up with my second time by turning that back in. But whichever of these tokens that I don't turn in at the end of the game, I'm allowed to shave off a second at a time later on. If I turn it in on one of these caution symbols, then I might not go out of control, but I don't get that second a time shaved off. But let's look at my roll here. I'm starting here on this portion of the track. I've got 1st gear without a caution symbol on it, so I'd be able to move my car onto that position. I've got 2nd gear, no caution symbol still, so I can move here. Now I will go ahead and go into third gear and take this this shortcut here and draw a shortcut card, which tells me that I'm okay. There's other possibilities that a shortcut could tell you that you took tire damage by going through that off-road portion of the track, or that maybe I kicked some dirt up onto the track, in which case I'd take one of these orangey colored discs, place it up here onto the track, and that way if somebody else comes along and they've got to go through that dirt portion of the track, it's going to slow them down a little bit. But going back to my die roll, got first, second, and third gear. Now I've got fourth gear here. I've rolled that successfully without a caution symbol, so I can go into this next square. And I've got 2 acceleration die that don't show caution symbols, so I've successfully gone here for the first die. And now something interesting happens is that I'm coming up on this turn, and the last gear that I was in is fourth gear. So I can't turn through the middle of the turn. I'd have to come out around the outside of the turn like that. But I'm also noticing that this turn is kind of special in that I have the opportunity from either one of these squares to go through this shortcut, because I've got a K4 there, which means I can go through there on fourth gear. I draw a shortcut card and I'm still okay. Nothing bad happens, and I've gone that far through my track. My turn is done, and since I'm ending with fourth gear, I take a fourth gear card. I've used up 20 seconds, and if I'm playing by myself, then I have to start out on my next turn with fourth gear. I can either go up or down in gear, but I can't reuse a gear as I'm taking that turn. If I was playing against an opponent, then they're going to do the same thing I did, plan out their course through this track and decide whether or not they're going to roll die individually or take a bigger risk like I did and just roll their die all at once. And they're going to take these second tokens for each of the die that they rolled. And that's pretty much it. You're accumulating these cards, and when you get to the end of your special, you're going to add up your time at the bottoms of the cards. And you're going to write that down on a scoring pad here. Whoever has the quickest time is going to be the winner. There's a few other nuances, but that's the general idea behind Rallyman.